Welcome to Urban Knife Guy, where we discuss knives for city dwellers. Today, we're going to have a look at the Armour Gent and see if it makes for a good urban EDC, that is, everyday carry. You might not have heard of With Armour. This is a Chinese company. It was founded by a blacksmith by the name of Ping Zhen. He really made his name by creating good blades and caught the attention of China's military, and soon he began to make knives for professionals across the country. Now, fast forward in the 1980s, when China began to grow and open up economically, they saw an opportunity. So Ping Zhen and his oldest son set up a factory in Guangdong and quickly became the original equipment manufacturer for many famous Western brands. So that's OEM. And they began to manufacture knives for Buck, Sog, Boker, CRKT, and Kershaw knives, to name a few. And that's really how, I guess, they learned the trade, how to have good quality control, come up with designs, blade steels, heat treatment, etc. And of course, working on their domain knowledge of blacksmithing and making knives. And you find that very common with the Chinese companies who are OEM. They would learn what is needed to really have a good international brand. And after doing OEM for years, they would come up with their own brand and own range and their own designs and try to market it to the world. Now, I know a lot of people, when they think of Chinese companies, they think of knockoffs, counterfeits, clones, and low-quality products or knives in this case. Politics aside, the Chinese can make great products. And we know that because a lot of these big companies would use Chinese companies to make their knives. Now, I think there are two types of Chinese companies now. There's indeed one type of company who, make all the knockoffs, the clones, the counterfeits, and low quality products. Essentially, they just want to make a quick buck. But there are the other companies who are really trying to build a legitimate business and brand, and they're trying to have good quality control. And we're talking about brands like Civivi, QSP, Real Steel, and With Armour would be one of these. I think With Armour probably doesn't have as good marketing. That's why they're not as well known. But I did come across the brand when I was browsing through a site, and I thought I'd give it a shot. So I looked through the catalog. They tend to make very tactical knives, bigger knives, quite well designed, very modern and sleek, but I didn't really want a tactical knife. That's not really my thing. So the Gent, which is this knife, did catch my eye. So let's have a look at it. So first, the packaging, it's actually quite nice. It's a cardboard box, but thick cardboard. And this is a gift box, as they write in their specifications. And then you have this nice little cover, which you can open up, and then you get some product information. They do have a lifetime warranty. And then we have the knife wrapped up in this plastic bag over here. And this is the Gent. So what caught my eye about this particular knife was the design. So the handle was something more unique, or at least something that I did not own in terms of the handle. There is a very specific angle here, right, which gives it a nice look. And this is a flipper style blade. So I thought it looked something like what a James Bond would carry. Although I've said that about the Benchmade Foray as well. But this is something I can imagine, yeah. It's got a tactical feel, but still not, to me, over tactical. The blade steel is D2 in this case, and you can see it right over here. It says it's got a hardness of 61 HRC. That seems pretty hard, but we'll take the word for it for now. But before we get into the specs of the knife, this is actually quite a large knife. The blade is long and the overall length is long as well. So let's give you some comparisons with knives that you'll be familiar with, starting with the Spyderco Para 3. You can see that's how it stacks up. We have the Ontario Rat 2. That looks really small. Similar steel as well. Let's take this away and let's put the Benchmade Foray. So that's my choice of a gentleman's modern knife. I have the Buck Sprint Select. Slightly smaller as well. And finally, as always, an Altoids tin. Let's have a quick look at the specs for the with Armour Gent. The blade length is 3.75 inches long. The handle length from this end to this end is 4.75 inches for an overall open length of 8.5 inches. As mentioned earlier, this is a D2 blade steel. This uses a CNC for the grind. Now, D2 is a common steel for budget knives, especially budget knives who want a slightly better steel. D-tool is a tool steel used in tools. And it's also known as a semi-stainless steel because there's not enough chromium inside to make it a real stainless steel. It is known to have one of the longer lasting edge retention steels out of the non-powder steels. And that's why it's, quite popular with knives. But take note, it is quite tough to sharpen at home for D2s because of the hardness. This blade style is a drop point blade with a high saber grind, which is a flat grind. The blade thickness is 3.5 mm, so it's pretty thick, but it's still quite a slicer due to the high saber grind. And it's quite beefy. You can see the stock is nice and thick, but it comes down nice to a fine, very slicey sort of bevel. Now, this looks like a satin finish to me, although the marketing description calls it a stonewash finish. But then again, the marketing product description also says this is a frame lock when it's really a liner lock. So, well, I guess you have to actually see and look at the knife to decide for yourself. But I do believe that's a satin finish, and that's definitely a liner lock. So the handles are all G10, and there are no internal liners, no steel liners inside. But the G10 material is good, nice and thick with no flex at all, and it still feels really solid. So the G10 is chamfered all across the edges, very nicely done. No sharp edges, doesn't feel sharp at all, even along these long edges here. So very well milled and done. And there's this textured kind of a cross hatch design, which gives you that additional grip. So in terms of ergos, not much of a hot spot. There is a pocket clip, not deep carry, and it's only on one side. It is a tip up carry. Ergos wise, I think it's okay. There's a little bit of a hot spot here, I can imagine. But again, if this is a gentleman's knife for urban EDC tasks, I don't think you'll be using this to, gut a pig or something. So I think it would work fine in most cases. There's jimping on the top over here for you to get a good grip. And due to the flipper tab, that also acts as almost a finger guard, and also for you to kind of choke up to the near the heel of the blade, so you get a really good grip overall. In terms of hardware, these are Torx 8, Torx 6. You can dismantle this to clean the knife and to oil the knife. The knives is a ball bearing system for the pivot system over here, and as mentioned, a liner lock with a flipper tab, which opens up quite nicely. Well, let's talk about how we can carry this blade as an urban EDC. Now, this is fairly large, or larger than most of the blades that I have. So what, a 3.75 inch blade length, clothes just under 5 inches at 4.75 inches. So you could technically, of course, put this in your pocket. It's light enough because of the G10 scales or liners. So let's see how heavy it is, in fact. So let's put that here, and that's 96.7 grams, so just under 100 grams, and that is 3.41 ounces. So not really heavy. I'll call it kind of a mid-range, maybe on a slightly lighter side, but not super lightweight. You could use an EDC holder. I only have this one, which will be big enough. This is the ARC company's Badger, and that could fit that inside. Let's see. Let me get the pocket clip open. That's good. And I could fit in a torchlight. This is the Olight IT5. Yeah, that fits in. And I could also put in a pen. Yeah, that could fit nicely. Although it's not flat like how you would like an EDC organizer to be, so it can go into your pocket. So if you're just to maybe carry the pen and knife, so maybe instead of this pen, we could use another pen. Let's see if I have a tactical pen over here that could fit in, and that fits in quite nicely as kind of a EDC carry. So the golden question is, does the with Armour Gent make for good urban EDC? I think in terms of the features, the fit and finish, the design, the blade type, and the overall look, it actually works very well, especially if you like a longer, bigger blade. Personally, for me, I think this is just a bit too much knife to bring out. I mean, in a public place, in an urban environment, you have a lot of social settings, it's quite public. Bringing a knife like this, even for regular urban EDC tasks, might scare some people off. So it is quite a bit of knife. As I've mentioned before, I do like the Benchmade Foray, which is, I consider, my go-to EDC modern gentleman's knife. So this I would put in kind of the same category. Of course, the blade steel is different, and the look is definitely not as classy as the other one. But if you do like a bigger, beefier knife, and you like this kind of design, I think this could actually fit you quite well. One thing I do like to talk about is actually the different price points, because I've seen different prices on different websites. On the official site, with Armour, puts this at $62 US. There's also one version with a carbon inlay, but actually it's a carbon overlay. I've handled that before. Looks quite nice as well if you like that carbon fiber over the G10. That's slightly a bit more expensive. I probably paid about $55 to $58 US for this after conversion, but I've seen this knife priced as low as $37.99 on eBay and other sources. So if you do intend to buy the knife, I do suggest you check out the prices and do check out the total price, including shipping, to see if it's the price you want to pay for this particular knife. So if you're talking about for about $50 to $60, I think it's a decent knife that you can consider. But what do you think? Do you like this as an urban EDC? Do you like this larger knife but with a sleek look? So let me know in the comments below, and let me know if you have any information on with Armour, or you've got experience with the other knives. I'd like to hear your thoughts. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like the content, please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. As always, keep it folded, keep it safe.